Okay, so now that we got our first layer of the seagrass in, I want to go ahead and choose a couple different shades of green. The first one I had dark green. Now I'm going to choose a darker yellow green. And I'm going to use the same shape, but I want to use various sizes. So I'll do a couple that are a little bit smaller and a few that are a little bit bigger, and kind of layer them over top of each other. And then I will use this to, whoops, that's not what I wanted, to choose some lighter ones. And again, throw some in here in some varying places, various sizes. And then I'm going to use also brown, because sometimes you do have some brown leaves in there mixed in. And once I have a few of those in there, then I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to use this darker green right there and the brown as my background color. And now if I use my brush, we have a totally different way that we can make some grass in here. So I'm going to hold down my brushes, and we have towards the bottom a brush that looks like leaves, or grass rather, sorry. And if I roll over it, it says grass. There's also like a single blade of grass, dune grass. But what I like about using this with my paint or with my brush, I can correct the size and I can click and drag, and notice how it puts in colors between my foreground and my background color. So it's not just one, but it's a few. So I'm able to brush a few pieces of that grass in there. Next, I'm going to get my brush tool and I'm going to go back and I'm going to go up here to the top and I'm going to use a soft round brush. The soft basically just means that it doesn't have a hard edge, so it kind of fades out along the edge. And I'll go ahead and leave it at that size for now. What I want to do is I want to adjust this blending mode. And this blending mode makes a big difference in how things look. I'm going to try to use soft light right here. And I also want to, what I want to do basically is paint some lines in the water to make it look like like the surf has waves in it. I can also reduce the opacity. I'm going to go ahead and start at 70 and 50 for the opacity and flow. And as I go, I see that might be a little bit too big of a line, so let me go ahead and reduce that some. And basically I'm just making some waves in there. I don't like that color that I just chose. I'm going to use my history and undo that. Okay. And I'm going to let me get the color of my water and then I'll just lighten it up some. So I'll put some lighter waves and some darker ones in there. And there we go, that looks better. And I can just do that. And then again, I can go in and I can darken it up some, change the size of it. I can change the opacity of it. And I can make some more waves just to make it look a little more natural and not like a solid color. Okay, and we're just going through the gulf there. Okay, next we want to put the reflection of the sun in the water. So I'm still going to use my brush, but I want to go ahead and sample that sun color. And I want to go in here and I want to choose one that's a little bit darker. So we know if we come down, that's giving a shade to it. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to change my mode back to normal. And I'm going to set the opacity at 50, which it already is. And I probably want to increase that a little bit. I may have to undo it. That might be a little dark. I'm going to decrease my flow to about 20. Let me try that. Okay, that looks better, but now I want I don't know if I want a bigger brush or a softer brush. Maybe reduce the opacity a little bit more. And there we go. Now I've got it. I've got the opacity and the flow both at about 20%, and that's going to let me put kind of just a little reflection of the sun in the water. Okay. Next, I want to go ahead and I want to set my color, my foreground color, to white. And I'm going to use a brush, a soft brush, about 30 pixels. It's also going to be soft. So let me change that to 30. And you may notice up here that we have the ability to set it to airbrush, which is right here next to the flow. And I'm just going to draw kind of some puffy clouds up here in the sky. Oops, I got to increase my opacity and flow again. Let me get up to about 50 on each, and then I can experiment and see if that is okay. There we go. And just know that the edges are going to be soft. Okay, that's why we put the soft setting in. And then you can go in and fill it in. You can leave it as wispy clouds like that, or you can fill it in and have it be a little bit more solid in the middle and just wispy on the outside. All right. Now, with the white still selected, let's go back to our custom shape tool. And with our custom shape tool, if we come up here, we can find, remember we appended it to include animals. And one of the animals here is a bird. It's bird 2. And it works the same way that the grass did. I'm going to click here and I want it to be, I'm going to say 75. And that might be a little big. Let me do it again, and I'm going to do 50. There, that looks a little bit better, except for now it's down too low. So one more time, 50. There we go. So we got a bird there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create another bird, but this bird is going to be a little bit gray. And it's also going to be smaller. And that's because I want it to look like it's further away, and it's the further away it is, the darker it is. The closer it is, the lighter it is, and the bigger it is. Okay, so that's why it looks like that. Okay, so we've got this pretty much done. We could add a couple more birds if we wanted, but what I actually would like to do now is get my type tool, and it's the horizontal type tool, and oops, it's initializing here for some reason. I want to choose, actually let me go ahead and get I want to get the same dark cyan, darker green cyan, and I want to go ahead and up here I want to type CU, and then I want to type at, whoops, I probably should be consistent. Let's go ahead, I'm going to make it a capital S, at, and then I'm going to hit return the beach. Now, because I've already typed before, my options have this set at centered. Yours probably don't, and you probably have it at left aligned. In order for you to change it, you need to select both lines. Okay, you see if you just put it in one, it only applies it to that line. Now, once you type it, automatically text goes on another layer. So it's not part of this original layer. So we can move this around and edit it as needed. In order to edit it, we need one of two things. You can either double click on the T, the thumbnail, it automatically selects the text, where you can edit it up here with the options. But we also have a character panel over here that will allow us to do a few things. So the first thing I want to do is I want to choose a different font, and I will tell you that I'm now on my home computer instead of the school computer, so my fonts are going to be a little bit different than yours. I am going to go ahead and choose Futura, and I'm going to keep my font size at 50. Just to the right of that, though, we have what's called leading. And by default, it's always set at auto. But as soon as you adjust it, it's going to change it. And what we want to do is we want it to be a little bit closer together so that it's not spaced out as much. And I might, just to put that Y and the B away from each other a little bit, I might add that exclamation mark and, whoops. I'm going to bring that in just a little bit. So it's about 44 point. There's other tools that you can use in here with that, but I'm going to leave that just like it is now. You do have the ability to make it bold, which is not what I want. Medium and medium italic. I'm just going to leave it at the original. And after that, I want you to go ahead and, with the text tool again, in the bottom right corner, and you're going to have to adjust the font on this also. You can put your first and last name, and then period 1, PD1. I've been using, I think, Arial and size 20, which I think is a little too big for this. I'm going to make it 12. And I'm also going to make it black because there's too much green down there for me to see it. And then I should be able to move it down to the bottom right and still be able to be seen. And there it is at 100%. And you have a nice little postcard that you made using the custom shapes as well as the brushes and some text. Remember that you want to do a file save as. At the beginning, we gave this a name, so you're going to navigate to your folder in schools. I'm at home. I don't have that at the moment, so that's why I'm going to the desktop, saving it as a with the format of Photoshop. And then remember that you do need to save it as a JPEG so that you can upload that file to your Google Drive. And then remember, when you're done, go ahead and quit Photoshop